Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rants alongside Tommy Krysan, TK, coming to you this morning from the Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway, just off of Airline. I'm coming to you from Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Studios, and we're presented by our friends over at LeBear's Casino, where you can stop by the Barstool Sportsbook. No better place to watch games, eat food, hang out, and bet on all sorts of basketball right now. Super Bowl Sunday, the place is going to be absolutely jam-packed. Tommy, last night LSU's women improved to 22-0 on the season. They escaped. They beat Georgia in overtime by 5 points. They were up by 1 at halftime. This was a clunky, tough game for them. Unlike the last game where they struggled to score close to their average against Tennessee, this time around they were able to get close to the average thanks to overtime. But LSU will play South Carolina, the number one team in the country, the defending national champ, the best player in the world, and best player in college basketball plays for them in Boston. And they will LSU will go to South Carolina on Sunday. I don't know what the line's going to be on that game, Tommy. I'm going to bet on South Carolina because I do think LSU's going to lose by double digits. I think they are they've played above their skis. They're not as good as their ranking. They've not played well of late. They've been, struggled at home and survived at home against teams like Georgia and Tennessee. By the way, 8,700 in the building last night on a Thursday, rainy, cold night. But South Carolina is awesome. They've got the best player. They're at home. I think they're going to handle their business easily, but still a great start nonetheless for LSU's women.
Yeah, and I enjoy watching Kim Mulkey coach. Chance just made the comment she worked the refs last night, but she's coaching. I mean, as the elite coaches do. I mean, she's coaching every second of the game. If they're up 20 with 10 seconds to go, then she turns the switch off. But it's fun to watch her. And hey, you're right. I don't know if struggle is the word, because when you get to 20-0 and 21-0, that other team wants to be the one to beat you. That's what Georgia last night wanted to be. We want to be the first ones to beat LSU. The targets there, the goals there, and they amp it up a little bit. It did Tennessee and did Georgia, and did Arkansas last week. So, that's just part of it. But the team still found a way to win. They walked off the floor with the W, and that's what you're trying to do. So. It's going to be fun to watch how this thing goes. I can't wait for that South Carolina game, 1 o'clock, Super Bowl Sunday, as you mentioned, from Columbia. Tickets on the black market are like $300 for that game over there, secondary market, whatever. So Kim Mulkey's got the attention to this program that we all thought she would get when she was hired.
We thought she'd get it, but I didn't think she would get it in year one, and she got it in year one. And here in year two, it's like she's coaching at Baylor. I mean, it's really just can't say how impressive it is. It's really pretty incredible what she's done. And 8,700 in the building. What do you think, realistically, how many people do you think will be in the building tomorrow when LSU's men with one SEC win? I don't know where they're going to get a second SEC win. They take on Alabama, one of the better teams in the country, at home. The last time they played Alabama, they lost by, 25?
40.
Oh, that's right. They lost by 40 over in Tuscaloosa. How many people do you think will be at the game tomorrow? It is Saturday.
I'm going to go 3,000.
3,000. And the problem is we won't know, right? They don't do the actual attendance anymore. They do ticket sales and stuff like that. That stopped probably, 8 years ago or something like that. I know in baseball they used to give you the actual attendance for decades, and they stopped doing that 7-8 years ago, stopped giving the actual attendance. So now you don't know how many people are there on a Tuesday night against McNeese. You just have to guess. But, I think that's a pretty fair number. Over, under, probably 3,500 is probably the line.
Yeah, I'll go with that. There's still some people that, love to watch their basketball. It's a Saturday afternoon. It's not going to mess up.
You want to see Alabama.
You got the Spanish Town ball tomorrow night. So a lot of people might say, hey, I don't want to go to that 3 o'clock game. I got to get ready to wear something pink,
you got a chance to see a team that's going to compete for a national championship.
True, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It's a worthy opponent for sure. Bama, they stumbled a couple of games ago, But they beat Vanderbilt by 57 points or something last week. So
What do you think the line's going to be? You think so?
18. I'm
Bama
going
was
18.
okay. So Bama was the first time they played. Bama at home was 15-point favorite,
Yeah,
18-point favorite.
15.
Okay, they were a 15-point favorite at home. I think it would be hard for them to be a 20-point favorite on the road. So I'm going to go. You said 18.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 18.
I think that's a pretty good number. 15 to 18. Yeah, probably 18. I like that. That's a good number. I don't
Yeah.
think they can get to 20 being a 20-point favorite on the road. That'd be pretty incredible.
I don't know. LSU, the wise guys know LSU is awful.
I know.
I mean, so if it's 18, I'm laying the 18. I'm following the Ron theory. I got the Ron Rance theory going strong.
Listen, yeah, bet against LSU all year this year, every game, no matter the line, and it's
even
worked
though I
magically.
was stupid last Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, they made a freaking garbage 3. I just can't believe it. Anyway, but anyway, no, I think that this LSU team, whatever the line is, you tell me Alabama's a 22-point favorite, I'm taking Alabama. Just the way this team is, All right, so LSU's men over under 3,500 in attendance tomorrow. If you look at the women now going to go to South Carolina on Sunday to take on the Lady Gamecocks in what will be the biggest game of the year in the SEC, potentially the biggest game of the year in the country during the regular season relative to crowd, fan base, demand for tickets, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I know people that are genuinely considering making that ridiculous drive to Columbia, South Carolina. No, thank you. I don't think the only way I would consider making that drive, Tommy, is if like LSU's playing South Carolina in a playoff football game next year or in 2 years when they start that. If they're playing over there and I can't fly for whatever reason, okay. If LSU's baseball team is playing South Carolina in a super regional, okay, that's it. Those are the 2 reasons, nothing else.
Well, and if it was later in the year and you get a Braves game on Saturday night and then go over to Columbia, I might could do that if I could mix some MLB in, which is getting close. Pitchers and catchers reporting soon. So
incredible. I had that new ballpark, by the way, over there at the Trustmart Field or whatever it is. I haven't been there. NBA news. The Pelicans, they're going to get another chance at it tomorrow night. They take on LeBron James and the Lakers. They're trying to stop this losing streak. Congratulations to Tommy. Tommy's a winner. Thank you, Craig. Hopefully you jumped on the lock train. Tommy was a winner last night. The Pels lost by 5 to the Mavs over in Dallas. The line was 4.5. Tommy told you right here on Sports Shorts Daily, take the Mavericks. Kind of doing the same thing with them right now that we're doing with LSU, just going against the Pels till they prove you wrong a couple of times. The Pels lose by 5. They were 4.5-point dog. Couple free throws at the very end got Tommy the victory, and he'll cash his ticket. We don't know. Do we know the line tomorrow?
Not out yet. It's not out. LSU and Pelicans are in a race to see who can lose the most. We'll know those lines maybe later tonight.
Yeah, we'll have them for you. We'll talk about it on Sports Shorts Daily tomorrow when we're live from Calandros.
Sports Shorts Radio, right?
Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow when we're live from Calandros. So what I don't know is LeBron's no way is LeBron James going to break the record tomorrow in New Orleans. He's got 63 points to get to Kareem's all-time scoring record. I think even if he gets to 62, Tommy, he's going to hold it to Los Angeles. He wants to break this record in Los Angeles. And, oh, by the way, the Lakers play at home the next 2 games after they come to New Orleans on Saturday. But here's my question about it. LeBron has said, this week, he's going to play a number of years beyond this year. And we all suspect that, one, he's in great shape. The guy's having a fantastic year. What is he, 38? Something like that? He's averaging 30 points a game, Tommy. He's shooting 50% from the field, okay? 30 points a game and shooting 50% from the field and around 74, 75% for the free throw line. He is having, no matter your age, a very good year. he's the Tom Brady of the NBA, man. He is going to put this all-time scoring record so far out there into the stratosphere that nobody is going to ever come near him again. And oh, by the way, and just like Tom, who played great up until literally this past year, where he was great in the fourth quarter, LeBron James there's no reason for him to retire.
He's 38. You're correct. I looked that up, and he's in incredible shape. He run the floor. He's probably not as great as he was 10 years ago, but he's still a formidable player for the Lakers and in the NBA. He's an all-star kind of guy, but he's
I know you hate him, but he's
vilified. Yeah, no, he's a great player. He's vilified. There's less than 10 people care about what he says. When he comes out.
Well, that's not true if you go by social media numbers. Well, I know he irritates you, and I know he irritates everybody, but there's a large segment of the world who are LeBron James fans. Just like there's a large segment of the world that vote differently from what you might vote or something like that. LeBron's got his following. May not be you. You're not his demo. That 60-plus white male isn't the demo that's following LeBron James on social media. But he's a great player.
Yeah, no, and hey, that's a record that's been there for quite a while. And, Kareem Jabbar, he's a little bit different as well with some of his thoughts and comments. Well, and to this day, he's not afraid of a controversial topic at all. But
they're not friends. They've had their issues.
Big time.
Kareem and LeBron.
Yeah, there's no question they're not. In other words, the question now is if let's say the next two home games, is Kareem going to be there? The thought is he will be there when the record gets broke. He lives in LA. The thought is he'll be there. He's not going to fly in the walls tomorrow, but he'll be there. And then they're going to stop the game and not give him the ball, all that stuff, and rightfully so. And it'll be a standing ovation. The place will be packed. They're going to do all that. It'll be the lead story on every platform for days. Rightfully so. Whether you like LeBron or not, this is a major mark that nobody ever may top LeBron. When Kareem set the record, there were people who said somebody will catch him one day. I don't know that anybody will ever catch LeBron because you're going to play that long. The money they make now and then injuries. I mean, so it's a special moment in NBA history and basketball history.
Well, the other thing, too, is that LeBron was able Mom pulling her not a LeBron fan. So let's just say 60 plus.
Go mom, man. We like that one. Yeah.
But the thing is that like with LeBron, he came out of high school, which right now you can't do. You have to go to the G League or you got to go 1 year of college. So that gives him an extra year. And then the thing is Tommy, the money is so incredible. And I've said this all along, and I guess a part of me is probably wrong, but when you're making potentially $30 to $50 million a year, which is what these great players are going to make. I mean, where's the motivation to play into your 40s? People like LeBron James and Tom Brady, those are different types of characters, man. And I mean, where's the motivation when you got $1 billion or $500 million, which if you're the great ones will have in the future before they get to 40?
Yeah, no, I agree. Nobody's gonna play that long.
It's that side button.
Yeah, I know what it is. Nobody's gonna play that long. Okay, I get that, and but it's a significant thing in history, and he doesn't need money. He wants to play with his son. He wants his son to get into the NBA and they be on the same team. If
that'll be a neat story. Yeah,
that'd be like Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr., who, by the way, hit back-to-back home runs in the same major league game. Dad and son. Let that sink in for a minute. By the way, Ronnie, you know what I read? Tony Gwynn. If he would have went 0 for 1,199, his last 1,199 at bats, he'd still had a 300 career average.
0 for 1,100.
But he's still been at 300.
Tony Gwynn, God rest his soul, who of course was a great hitter for the Padres. The worst body, probably him and David Wells. David Wells probably a record for the worst body as a pitcher, and Tony Gwynn probably the worst body for a position player. Both great players, but
Well,
Tony Gwynn was just unbelievable from the left side.
you got a couple of guys now that look worse than Gwynn. That first
Who
baseman.
would you go with?
Well, G-Man, the guy that was in Tampa, he just signed with somebody else. G-Man Choi.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
And then there's another first baseman was in Milwaukee.
Yeah, there's another big first baseman, right?
It
right,
was in Milwaukee, I think, and they made Gwynn was a point guard in college basketball, and it was a good one. He wasn't an All-American, but he was a solid player at San Diego State, so he was quite the athlete. Even though especially the last 6-7 years of his career, kind of like I heard Ben McDonald on the Jordy Collada show this morning. He was talking about Tommy Tanks. He goes, "This dude looks like he drinks beer and plays softball on the weekend, but he's out there playing baseball and he mashes, he hits bombs, So
Tommy Tanks looks like a graduate assistant. Tommy Tanks looks like. Did you see the national story where the 22-year-old girl played in a 13-year-old basketball game? So there was a 22-year-old high school assistant coach, a volunteer coach, who filled in for a 13-year-old girl and they, put her down on the roster. That girl was out of town. They needed this coach to play in order to have the number of players they needed or whatever to be able to, have 5. She played, this 22-year-old girl played as a 13-year-old and played like they showed highlights of her blocking shots and stuff like that. Anyway, she ended up getting obviously fired. The varsity and the JV basketball teams canceled the rest of their season. It's a big controversy. Tommy Tanks looks like that. He looks like a 30-year-old volunteer assistant for the LSU baseball team who just got finished in the minor leagues 2 seasons ago and is like, I'm going to go back to play college and I'll change my name. It's crazy. Looks like he graduated in, 2009 with Buzzy Heidel or something.
When I first met him, it was in the locker room at LSU. Coach Bertman and I, we were down there. Jay wanted us to see everybody. And I met Tommy Tanks, and I'm like, this guy, he looks like he be handing out the hats, equipment guy kind of thing, But, 27 bombs at NC State last year, and he's gonna be a force for LSU this year.
He's going to be one of many that are going to be a force for LSU this year. We are,
Ryan, I was thinking
2 weeks away today.
Yeah, I was thinking the other night and thinking, I'm going to plan on going to all 3 games opening weekend, and hopefully the weather's not too cold, or I'll be in the press box or a suite. But I just can't wait to see the lineup. And then, are they going to beat Western Michigan, 18-2? Is that what's going to happen? That opening night. Skeens is pitching. We know that. He's going to be on pitch count. He'll work 4 innings, maybe a 5th if the pitch count's low. But this is the most talented college baseball team of all time. And, Ben McDonald said last year's Tennessee team was the most talented team he ever saw. I think David DeLucci even said that, too, on the SEC network. But, I want them to see this team. And I respect Ben and David, 1,000%, two good friends of mine. But, this LSU team, which I saw many times this fall, they could do it.
Over under on opening night runs allowed by LSU, probably 1.5. Probably the over under. Skeens isn't going to go.
I'm going to say 2.5, and it'll be under. I don't think Western Michigan will get more than 2 runs, and they may have the goose egg on the board.
I would say that it's going to be fun to bet college baseball this year at LeBairs, in the Barstool Sportsbook. I'm curious to see what the lines will be. And I've heard that they're going to have more and more games available. Last year was a very limited amount of college baseball games that you could bet at LeBairs at the Barstool Sportsbook. But I know this year they're going to have more and more. So looking forward to that. Look, last year was the most talented team that you mentioned. DeLucci and Ben McDonald, those guys said. Todd Walker said the same thing. Right. And people I know a lot of people say, well, wait a minute. What about those LSU baseball teams in the late 90s and they had 188 homers and all that? Here's the difference. The difference is those were great teams and they had great players on it. They had big leaguers on it, but they didn't have as many potential big leaguers. That was the greatness of LSU baseball during those 80s and 90s under Skip Bertman, was that he took good players and made them great. He took average players and made them good. You look at two of the best players, Jason Williams and Warren Morris. Both of them played on the Olympic team in 1996. Warren played in the big leagues. Jason Williams got to AAA, hit 388 or something one year in AAA. And both of them were fantastic college players. Both of them were parts of two national championship teams, 93 and 96. But both of them redshirted coming out of high school. Both of them really weren't recruited that heavy. Jason Williams was maybe going to, go to ULM or, Warren Morris didn't have a lot of options at all. Because they were both great students. They came to LSU on academic money, and then the rest is history. This is different. These players that LSU's getting are highly recruited potential big leaguers trying to decide to go to high school or go to college or go pro right away. It's a totally different athlete. Now, they may all end up at the same spot, but coming in, they are more highly touted than what LSU's athletes were back in the 90s.
Well, let's point this out. JW is what, 5'10"?
Oh, shoot, no.
5'9", 5'9",
5'8". Yeah.
Okay, and Warren's shorter than that. Warren's 5'7", 5'8".
No. Warren's taller. He's just thinner. Thinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's that's two of the greats, no doubt. And I say that about Morris, not just because he hit the bomb in '96, the greatest moment in college World Series history ever, but he did get to the bigs. I want to say with the Pirates. So, and JW should have got to the bigs. It's amazing that the Reds never called him up on September. I mean, and I know why. He's talked to me about it, but anyway, those are two great. But you're right. This team, there are 6 or 7 major leaguers wearing LSU uniforms this year. 6 or 7.
And maybe more.
And like 12 other guys that'll play professionally.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this roster, obviously it's online. We'll look back, 6 years from now, 7 years from now. We'll look back at this roster. It'll be interesting to see because they're going to carry 38. It's going to be interesting to see how many of the 38 get a cup of coffee in the big leagues, meaning one game or more. And that's a good over-under number at the Barstool Sportsbook. Like, I think, Tommy, the over-under number on the 38 players, as far as the number of guys that will actually make it to the big leagues for at least one game, is the over-under is at least 8.
Yeah, and I'm going over 8. I'm thinking 12 would make you think.
Yeah, which is insane because I remember when I first got to college in the fall of 1990, Coach Bertman, his famous speech that he would give everybody sort of the first day or two when you arrived every fall was something along the lines of, hey guys, listen, you got to go to class. So you got to go to class. You got to do this. You got to do that. Because look, only one of you in this room is going to make it to the major leagues. And that's Ben McDonald. And it's you guys are really going to be, insurance guys, and you're going to be lawyers, and you're going to be salesmen. Like, you're not going to be big leaguers. And the irony of that is, I think on the 91 team, I might have been the only guy who didn't make the big leagues, but no, but I mean, like, but my point is that, like, it's just so low percentage. Like, you didn't, that you used to not think that way. Although Coach Bertman was, he didn't know at the time that he was exaggerating, and it turned out he was. I mean, there were plenty of guys, but single digit percentages usually on a team, or 10% or less or whatever. But now, the type of player that Jay Johnson is getting at LSU, and the limited number of rounds, and all the training and the coaching and everything that LSU has and the facilities to make you great, and the league and the SEC and how good it is, now that it's legitimately 15% of you are going to make the big leagues off of a given team. Or 20% maybe this year. Like, that's crazy.
Well, and somebody said this a couple of years ago. It's a good time to bring it up. For a lot of guys, they're better off going to play in the SEC than they are going to play low A ball or rookie ball for a year, or even high A, because it's better competition, better coaching, great facilities. They fly in if it's more than a couple hour bus ride. So yeah, I mean LSU's the premier program in the premier conference, and with all due respect to the Vanderbilts and what we were talking about South Carolina, they went back-to-back College World Series about 10 years ago with Ray Tanner. So Florida, they got one against LSU and Paul Maneri. So it's the greatest conference in baseball, and a 30-game grind against the best of the best, and LSU is going to be the best of the best this year.
Unless you make it to the major leagues, the experience of playing at LSU now and the treatment and the travel and the facilities and everything is better than single A, double A, triple A. And it's probably better than the Tampa Rays, But other than that, it's.
Well, that looks like they're going to get a new stadium in St. Pete. Look at Byron's comment, Ronnie.
What have we been waiting for? Who cares about big leagues, Ronnie? You're doing exactly what I always thought you'd be doing and killing it. Thank you, Byron. Yeah, Byron and I think going back to when we played together and we were like 15, 16 in that era, I think I was always running my mouth in the dugout. Used to mess around doing play-by-play and stuff like that, talking sports and all back then. Sometimes – dreams. Is this a dream come true, Tommy? Are you and I doing this? I don't know. But anyway, Byron's right. I always thought the difference, Byron, was back then I was naive enough to think I was going to be Jim Palmer. I thought I was going to make it to the big leagues, pitch for 10 years in the big leagues, maybe do some underwear commercials when I got done. I don't know. And then just go right to the Sunday game of the week in the booth. Who knew that I had to start at WSKR 12:10 a.m. The Score in Denham Springs, Louisiana, with John S. staring at John Fine and Tommy Chrysanth behind the glass back in the fall of 1996. That's
you and I did a show, Talking Sports, we called it. But Ronnie, I remember my dad telling me when I was like 11, 12 years old, something like that. He said, "Son, you find somebody to pay you to talk, you're gonna be all right." He used to tell me.
Did he tell you that? That's fun.
I always ran my mouth, and he said, "You find somebody to pay you to talk, you're gonna do okay." Well,
that's pretty good.
It kind of went that way, but no. So, but no, it's no. Hey, I enjoy what I do. You enjoy what you do, and it's all good,
All right, Tommy. Tell us about Tremonti's before we get out of here.
The big question, they will have crawfish next weekend, Super Bowl weekend. You'll be able to get live a bowl starting next Friday, 1 week from today. Mike likes to wait till he can get what he calls pretty crawfish. He doesn't want to sell small crawfish because then everybody says, "Oh, the crawfish at Tremonti's are small." So he waits until he can get the pretty when he's got the same supplier he's had for 20 years. And last year, they rolled over 250,000 pounds of crawfish through Tremonti's, counting live and boiled. So that's coming next week. They still got the Maurice's King Cakes in here. They're really good, 4 different flavors. Lunch special today is fried catfish topped with crawfish etouffee. They got all the chicken and pork and steaks and seafood that you need. All the whiskey behind me, all the wine. Make it a good weekend. Load up for the Super Bowl. If you want any catering for the Super Bowl party that you're going to, you got to bring something, or you're hosting some people, go to Tremontis.com or stop by here on Jefferson Highway, right down the street at Parkview Baptist Church and School. They'll be happy to take care of you.
All right, he's Tommy Chrysanth and Ronnie Rance. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, Sports Shorts Radio, Saturday, 10 to noon. We'll be at Calandro's on Perkins and Segan.
And we're going to eat cake.
And we're going to be eating Gambinos, dough bash. Looking forward to it. I won the bet. Thank you, Tommy, for paying off. Can't wait.
I ordered it yesterday, and I'm bringing everything we need: the forks, the plates. We got big knife. We're going to be eating dough bears, chocolate dough bears tomorrow during Sports Shorts Radio. Y'all come by Perkins Road, Calandro.
We'll give you a little taste.
Because I think I got a feeling you and I are going to take care of a large portion of this cake.
I got to get to it before Hunter does. All right, so tomorrow, Tommy paying off his Sean Payton debt, as Sean Payton, of course, is going to be up in Denver. Speaking of cold, going to be coaching up in Denver instead of the New Orleans Saints, which is where Tommy thought he was going to be. So we're looking forward to that tomorrow. Tune in to 104.5 ESPN Radio tomorrow morning for 10 a.m. Until then, special thanks to LeBear's Casino, Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, and Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. We'll see you on Monday for more Sports Shorts Daily.